So, I think we all can agree that India had a really rough last 9 months. So, let us rewind a little back and see what really happened in this last 9 months. So, we had a relentless heat wave from the months of April to June with nearly 40,000 cases of heat stroke recorded and at least 219 casualties. And we had a nationwide flooding event in the last couple of months, and that resulted in 7.7 million people getting displaced, and with their livelihood and everything as a big question mark. And not to mention, we had an extremely shocking landslide in the states of Kerala and Karnataka, and hundreds perished, families were shattered, and many were forced to flee their homes. So, the sixth mass extinction, as we would like to call it, the Anthropocene, is a really looming, large looming threat that we are very near to entering the brink of it. So, if you look at the current trends and extrapolate it to the future, we are expecting the sea levels to rise by 70 meters, and that would essentially sink and submerge all of the economically important coastal towns and cities. And the polar regions could get iceless by the end of the century. The temperature could rise by 2.7 degrees Celsius by the more than what's recorded in the Industrial Revolution times. And we as Indians, our country sits in this extremely paradoxical position of being both the perpetrator of climate change while also being the victim of it. We are responsible for 668,000 hectares of forest getting lost in the last 5 years, and then we are annually sending 2,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide every single year, and that in deforestation rates we are at the second position, and in carbon emission rates we are sitting at the third position worldwide. So, as a teenager from this country, I have always pondered on why we are so inactive when it comes to bringing out policies or even having a global consciousness as a societal consciousness towards saving the environment. And this led me down a rabbit hole, and I was trying to find a reason to why things are happening the way they are. And eventually I realized that there are two demographics if we are going to separate it into that context. There is the ecologically unaware, and then there is the ecologically aware. So, when we are concentrating on the ecologically unaware people, the reason they do not act or the reason they do not contribute to the fight for the fight against ecological and environmental disaster is that the concept of climate change or the causes of ecological destruction is too large, too complex and too intricate for them to focus. A person driving a polluting car in the streets of Mumbai could contribute to making a man homeless in the island of Fiji, such is the intricate and complex nature of our world. So, when we try to put it in simple terms for people, it either alarms them because the scale of our destruction is too large, or most people do not get it at all at the end of the day. And when we look at the ecologically aware people, we get another side of the story which is even more challenging, and that is the issue of eco-anxiety. So, eco-anxiety is the expression of negative emotions when the environment is stressed. For example, the recent Lancet survey said that the youth had nearly 59% of them are extremely worried about the future, and most of them do not really want children to bring to this world because the future is extremely uncertain for them. And half of them express emotions such as anger, guilt, fear and sadness over the entire thing happening around. And even me as an individual had eco-anxiety to intense levels when I was young. I was so angry, and whenever I hear the news of a species getting extinct or the largest iceberg in Antarctica sinking and melting away, I get this feeling of helplessness and powerlessness in this seemingly impossible task of fighting against it. And I went for therapy because of it. I wanted to talk it out aloud, but people did not seem to listen because for some reason. And eventually, I finally found a way out, And I realized that I am not actually helpless, I am actually really powerful when it comes to fighting against climate change. And that is when I found the art of storytelling. Data and science and all those numbers are extremely important in helping us understand at what kind of place we really are living. But honestly, it kind of distances them from the people who are listening. So, when we put these large scale numbers, the numerical nature of it kind of distances the general public from the issue, or it either alarms them and that causes the distance from the issue. But when you tell the story of how a person or an individual is trying to survive this disastrous future, people will most likely listen, because humans are social animals and we are hardwired to empathize with the issue. For example, we had Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin, which is a book that galvanized the abolitionist movement. We had Rachel Carson's Silent Spring, which is a book that created an environmental consciousness, or even the simple act of being the president of Tuvalu, being a minister of Tuvalu, and addressing the COP26 in knee-deep sea rise, that would create a sense of awareness and action that numbers simply can't do. And the power of storytelling is that even us can do storytelling with our current technology. You can tell the story of how you got lost in this flood that was caused by climate change, or you can tell a story about a tiger trying to escape a wildfire caused by humans. So, we have the ability to tell stories and we can use it to change people's perception about climate change and help them to bring them to our sides. And then there is another one of the most important things that general public can do that would eventually change how we counteract climate change and environmental destruction. We are a democratic country. India is the largest democracy and we have the largest population, and we are getting affected by climate change and environment every single day. So, when we put it into a perspective and when we help people realize what's the extent we are going to get as the year progresses on, we can help people understand and we can help people push for a climate oriented government. At the end of the day, a person's perception of what the thing is, a society's perception of what a thing is, would result in representative getting selected. And when the people are climate oriented, when the people are wanting to make the world a better place through through elections, the representative need to do it as well. So, it happened worldwide. In Denmark, 50% of the energy is from renewable sources because people push for it. In Germany, the energy transition happened because people pushed for it. We are a democratic nation and we are the pressure group in this action, and when we push for more ecologically oriented individuals as leaders, they would eventually bring a global push in a larger scale as we ask other countries to adopt the similar methods, other countries to value ecology and prioritize sustainability over economic progress. The road is extremely daunting, I must say. We are struggling to get forward and the road is not going to be easy, it is almost seemingly impossible. But there is hope, and hope is all I have, hope is all we have, and hope is all we need at this moment. So, this is our planet, this is our future, and we need to act for it right now, because in the next 50 years or so, the future is going to be determined, and our children and the children after that are going to either blame us or they are going to praise us for what we did in this particular moment. We need to select leaders who are climate oriented, and we need to ask for policies which are climate oriented. We have Project Dolphin, the Project Dolphin came out, we campaigned for ban of single use plastic, but we need to pressurize the government to pursue these projects as time goes on, while also asking for more and more relevant actions. So, at the end of the day, it is the general public that has the ability to change the world. So, thank you.